Can academic journals play a role in how animals are used and treated in research? Well, scientists' careers depend to a great extent on publishing papers reporting their work in peer-reviewed journals. When submitting manuscripts for publication, they have to follow the journal's instructions, which cover things like the writing style, for instance, but more importantly, what type of information is expected to be reported and how. These guidelines also often include ethical considerations. So upon reception, the editor takes a look at the manuscript and forms a first impression of its relevance and novelty factor. If the study is considered interesting enough, the manuscript gets sent to known researchers in the field, the peer reviewers, who will make a detailed analysis of the soundness of the methods, results and conclusions reported in the manuscript. The most common is for peer reviewers to suggest minor, and often major, changes before the manuscript is deemed publishable. If peer reviewers have any serious concern regarding how the work was carried out, it will be rejected. But what about animal welfare? Does it matter to journals, editors or reviewers whether animals were treated ethically? And, more importantly, should a paper be accepted when this is not the case? At least in theory, the adoption of strict animal welfare policies by scientific journals should motivate scientists to abide to high standards of animal care and use. At the ANIMPACT Project, we wanted to know how journals actually measure up regarding their policies on soundness of research, detail in reporting, and, more importantly, animal welfare and ethics. We reviewed the policies of a sample of 170 scientific journals publishing studies on mouse models of tuberculosis, Huntington's disease, and type 1 diabetes. These fields have been the subject of previous and ongoing systematic reviews on laboratory animal welfare in our lab, which will allow us later to compare journal policies with the actual treatment given to animals, as reported in the papers published by these journals. So the journal policies were classified according to a 20-point scale, distributed into 4 categories. Category A, regulatory compliance. Category B, quality of research and reporting of results. Category C, animal welfare and ethics. And Category D, for the existence or not of explicit criteria for the exclusion of papers. So we found that 72% of journals scored below 8 points, which we consider will be a fair classification, and 91% scored less than 10 points, which would be around half the top classification. If we look at the score by category, we discover that the overwhelming majority of journals has some sort of policy in place on compliance with regulatory demands, or with animal welfare guidelines with varying levels of exigence. However, most journals scored 0 points for policies on reporting standards, and even fewer had any explicit policies on animal welfare and ethics, other than demanding a statement of compliance with regulations, or the ethical approval of animal studies, both of which are covered by Category A. Also, almost none of the journals had any explicit policy for excluding papers for not complying with journal policies. So in short, most journals are merely requesting a statement of compliance with legislation, or that the protocol has been approved by an ethics committee or regulatory body. But this means that journals are shifting their responsibilities regarding animal welfare and ethics to regulators and institutions, rather than having an active role in identifying and preventing the publication of studies where animals were not treated ethically, or ensuring that methods and results are reported clearly. Scientific journals should thus improve their policies to be more demanding regarding the ethical treatment of animals, as well as improve standards on detail in reporting to allow an adequately informed appraisal of methods and results, and improve the replicability of experiments. But this is not the whole story. For journal policies to have a meaningful impact on how animal experiments are planned, carried out, and reported, they must not only be set to high standards, but also be duly taken into consideration by editors, reviewers, and authors. Hence, we also decided to survey journal editors to have a sense of current principles and practices regarding animal use. But this will be a story for another video.